Hello YouTube, Aaron here with another one. Got a coffee on the go. Just thought I'd show some more work that I've done towards my ISO creation tools. So now I fully support Arch, Debian and Ubuntu. And sadly I'm going to be making my tool a demo and paid version. So people that want to create a ISO with a reliable tool that has been tested and works pretty much all the time. I mean, there is a few times that I've had grub errors, and that's due to the fact that I've used Stacia to delete temp files that have broke something within the process of cloning. But if you don't use Stacia and clean the system files with Stacia, I mean, you can use Stacia and then reboot and then it will work perfectly fine. But if you use Stacia and clone a system, there's a chance that it might not work. So my only advice really when using my tool is to not use Stacia. Do not use Stacia, and if you do use Stacia, then reboot. But anyway, I'm going to show some of the stuff that I've now put in the tool to improve it, and I now fully support Arch, Debian and Ubuntu. So it's took me, the best part of 2 days, and this is what it looks like now. So we've got Ubuntu Noble and Oracula, and we've got all of these options for Oracula. And if we go to Noble, sorry, if we go to the ISO configurator, this is the menu that would normally be in, because I showed the tool with different options originally and I didn't like the layout of it, so I don't know if I can show that. To be honest, I've done many updates, so we could, I've deleted a lot of things. I'm not too sure if this is going to be the new or the old. So this is the old, and I didn't like the look of it. The command layout was just not really something I wanted. So we've gone now with a new layout, and you basically just type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so ISO configurator. And what this does, this allows you to, on Arch, you install a kernel, so I provide the kernel packages, and you could also copy your VM linears and generate your init RAMFS, which is what you're going to need to do if you've updated your system to a newer, the kernels are going to be the kernels that I supply, since the newer, I don't know about the latest and greatest Arch kernel. We can have a look now. If it's still the same version it was, then I suggest not using that kernel, or the last 3 kernels. You're going to want to use the kernels that I supply, and hopefully they're not corrupt, but I've done a lot of work, so I will be testing that again. So we want to go with Arch, Linux, Zen, just a prime, just an example. So the 6.1.4 has been released. Now that obviously means I need to do some testing to make sure that that works, but these kernels here that are supplied work with the tool, and the other kernels that have been released before the 6.11.4 were corrupt because of some sort of repo issue with Arch. So once you've installed these kernels, and there is the headers to these kernels are obviously supplied as well. That was in my last video that I showed. Once you install these, you're going to want to uninstall your old kernel, and you're also going to want to reboot. And that will then obviously trigger the newer kernel. And then you're going to want to edit the grub, on Debian and Ubuntu, you're going to want to edit the grub config. And that is down to the fact that, I'm going to have to edit this. So this obviously doesn't work, but Debian will work because I've done a lot of tests on Debian. The problem here is that this file here is not actually the updated file that's in here. So I'm deleting these because I don't need them. The newest updated file was obviously tested. It's been uploaded. future preference. Just so I can update it. It's around about 900 megabytes, and that's because of the kernel files. I could make a download feature. It's just not really something that I'll be willing to add just yet. There is an archive website for these kernels if they don't work, but from tests they do. So we close this, and we just come back here. This is the new version, and if we go to Ubuntu and we go to Noble and then we go to the ISO configurator, the ISO configurator is here, so maybe we need to do this. Just minor little tweaks that need to be done. There's many hours being put into this, and at the end of the day, I don't like charging for software. I'm not that sort of a person, but I put many hours into this. Now people might say, but you need a license, you know, this, that and the other. You can go download the tools and make this yourself. Them tools are open source tools. The scripts itself are my scripts. You can't copyright a set of scripts now. You really can't copyright a set of scripts. Not if I'm sitting there night and day writing it myself. I've not forked anyone else's project to make my scripts based on these tools. So I will be making these closed source and a demo version and a paid version. So if people want to make reliable ISOs anytime they want, then they can pay me on Patreon with a monthly subscription. And there will be a block on the SquashFS file, and that is purely down to the fact that I know I have released a version with a SquashFS creator, and the versions that I have released and the versions that are currently in my ISOs that I have provided are the wrong mechanism. So the new mechanism now allows you to install your Arch system without having to then use an additional script. It will just boot, and that was because the old mechanism used to copy some files that were not needed. So we're looking at Noble ISO configurator. I don't know what's going on, but this file here should be like this. If we go here, so Ubuntu, Noble, so I don't know what the hell's going on. Now anyway, we got. It's not going to open like that because I haven't added a shebang, is it? The full shebang. The ISO configurator doesn't want to work now. I don't know what's going on. I've done a lot of tests last night and it was all working. So this is just annoying now. I did do some edits last night, so I'm not too sure. This should be the one. I've done some edits last night and I'm not too sure what I've edited, but we'll throw this code at the bottom. We'll try to fix it now, and shouldn't be too hard. I've got 22%. There's just some minor things that need to be added into this. Of course, I'm not making money off the internet whatsoever at the moment. I'd like to be making some money, which is why I'm making this a demo and paid version. There's a lot of hours into this. Needless to say that anyone's going to pay for this, but you know, I'm obviously going to say that, you know, people are going to complain, oh, but why do we have to pay for your tool? Well, you sit there for 4 months trying to work out the algorithm to do this, and then you don't have to pay, you know. Or you could use Pancreas Eggs which has helped me for many months. But at the end of the day, it's not reliable. There will be an update that will break it, and mine will always be the same. Well, once you've paid for it, you'll be able to use it, and every 30 days there will be a new routine added to the mix. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I'm still working out how to make the demo and paid version. So this script, that's what I'm doing next, because I've made ISOs basically, and I've deleted them off of my USB, which would be good to show. But I've done KD Neon, I've done 2410, I've done Debian, and obviously Arch is just Arch. So that was the first thing I primarily supported before anything else. What we can do is we can just shove the air out the bottom. Oh yeah, that's what I did. I edited the packages. So whatever. Maybe that wasn't like that. Or whatever the bot throws at me. This is my error, because what I noticed is XOR and SquashFS Tools was XOR ISO and SquashFS Tools was not added into the dependencies that are needed for this to work. So I had to add that into the mix. And that was the last thing I did with this with a virtual machine. I'm pretty sure it was on 2404. So what I'd do is I'd copy this file into the virtual machine. I would then generate the files that are needed, which one-to-one building scripts. These are the building scripts. We've got the ISO creator scripts. We don't need the Perl scripts, but they're old scripts. We've got the dependencies, don't make no sense now, although I will be adding the dependencies for Arch into the script. So this script here actually will have the dependency for Arch in the script. So this is why I've removed now installed dependencies and made it so when you go into, when you load the obviously console script, we've got these menus here, and number one was install dependencies. So now instead of installing dependencies, we have the ISO configurator. So what that does, obviously allows you to edit the files that are needed for the ISO to work. And depending on what you're using, of course, you need to edit the grub config to the specific kernel versions. So like Ubuntu Noble might have a newer kernel version that you're going to want to put in the ISO and the grub config. ISO Linux. I mean, this is obviously not fully built, should I say. I'd like to add more things into the mix, but at the end of the day, it's a working project. I'm pretty much nearly finished. I've just got a few more things to add to make it the finishing product. And well, the demo and paid version is pretty much where I'm going to sit for a minute, because I've been doing it for so long. I really just want to take a break. So I'm going to make the demo version, and then I'm going to make the paid version. And Patreon is where people are going to have to pay. So it is a monthly subscription to get the paid version, and there will be a limit on the SquashFS creator. So the SquashFS creator will only work 3 times. if you think it's easy to clone the system with SquashFS, it isn't. I'm not going to give you any more than that information. You can sit there night and day trying to do it yourself, unless you're Perio from Penguin's Eggs. I don't think you know the mechanism to this. I asked Perio, I said to Perio something about your team do some good work, and he says he hasn't got a team, he does it by himself. Well, he's like me then, ain't he? You know, he owns the Krabby Patty recipe, and of course it is open, it's in the open. I mean, his scripts are completely different to mine. I've analysed his scripts to figure out the tools that are used, but the commands that are being used are completely different. I don't overlay my systems, I just clone the system. And the whole point of overlaying, obviously, he understands. I don't understand overlaying. I tried it and, well, I couldn't get anywhere, which is why I have my mechanism and not an overlay mechanism. And of course, if you go to the Penguin's Eggs code, you will see that it's about 1,000 lines long, whereas mine could be easily forkable had it not been compiled, which is why it's compiled. So my scripts are compiled. They're all hex codes. We know what hex codes look like, right? This is hex codes. I will show you this as well, actually. So I was showing in my last video that obviously, you know, Kate don't like to work. And I figured out some things that were wrong. But this is hex codes, you know, this is binary. And we can sit there all night and day trying to fork this, but I don't think we're going to get anywhere. And especially being that this is just an Arch application. I've edited it now so that we've got the different functions that work by buttons. I don't know if this is needed really, but I'd like to have like a simple Qt6/Qt5 application for Arch, Debian and Ubuntu. There's no specific order I should be saying them in really. There's no hierarchy when it comes to distributions, they're all repos to me. So I'm not too bothered about which order I name them. It's very opinionated. Although I will say that, you know, Arch is my favourite by far. There's just endless possibilities with Arch, although it is unstable. Although the kernel has just been released, so I don't know. Anyway, I could test the kernel now in this video. So we've got Arch, and we've got the configurator menu, and we're going to go to Arch, and we're going to see the configurator menu. We've got the generate init RAM affairs, we've got the edit grub config, we've got the edit syslinux. So if we actually go here, it's going to say that the syslinux doesn't exist, and that's because there's syslinux files of, obviously, the files have not been set up correctly. So if we go copy location, and this is why I've made this, you know, this script configurator not compiled. So if we go to Arch, I just woke up, I'm quite tired and wasn't really looking to do a video at this just after waking up. So there might be some errors. In the things that I say today, you know, I'm just tired. I've been up night and day watching films on Netflix pretty much. I'm not a professional, but I know what I'm doing because I've been doing it night and day, and the way that I talk sometimes in my videos, you know, goes to show. That's all I've got to say, you know, it goes to show. So we go to Arch, and we want to go to configurator menu, go Arch again, and we can obviously like to edit here. So if, say this was Debian, you're going to want to edit the init RD, and you're also going to want to edit the VM Linux, because they will have versions to them. So we'll go back and we'll go to exit and we go to, say, Debian, and we want to edit the grub config. And what number did I just push? No, I pushed the wrong number, sorry people. Oh, this is the only downside. So when we go to Arch, it doesn't matter which one you pick. You go to Arch and we go to Debian again, and then we obviously want to edit the... Oh no, it won't find that. So we go to Debian, and then we obviously want to edit. Why is it doing this? Pretty annoying, to be honest, that it's now editing files and putting things where it wants. That is an easy fix. It's certainly possible to fix. If we go back here, then we go here. We'll just analyze the script quick whilst we're doing this, and we'll look at the other locations as well. Yeah, we'll do 3 birds with 1 stone, shall we? See, I've already used this for Noble, I'm pretty sure. So Oracula 2410 has the correct location. So then we're going to move on to Noble. So Noble itself has the correct location, and I was pretty much gonna skip even looking at this, but you know, it just goes to show that in my own head I was right to think that, you know, I've already done this. Anyway, so we'll go back to this, and we can obviously test the fact that, you know, I've not edited 2404, and we're going to just see where it goes. I know it's a bit long-winded having to type numbers again and again and again, but at the end of the day, it works. So this is what I'm on about. If you have a newer kernel, you're going to want to put the newer kernel version. You can check that by going into your console and typing in sudo apt list, and it's going to be the kernel. So you type in whatever the kernel package is. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, I've just woke up, so please give me the courtesy of not knowing that currently to hand. But there's a command to check the kernel. On Arch it's going to be sudo pacman, sudo pacman q, and then we just type in the kernel that you've got installed, and we don't need to actually find out the kernel version for Arch. But this is just a prime example of a command that can be used to find the package version. And if you wanted to go a bit more detail, we can just go with that. And that actually, with this command, should I say, and this gives you, you know, the date that it was installed on, the build date, who actually packaged the package, you know, where it's come from, and well, not a lot of people know that the Arch packages are actually compiled. From Git. So if you wanted to make your own repo, you could literally make a repo that's based on compiling Git projects. So that's up to you what you do next, what you do with that information. So where are we now? So we've got all these different options for configuring the ISO, and you're going to need to edit the grub config and the ISO Linux. Obviously, the option to edit the ISO images has not been implemented, but the files are here to go through and edit without the script. You know, if you need to edit certain things for the ISO, then the files are here in the build image files. So it's entirely up to you what you do with these files in the build image, how you configure your ISO to work. If you want to change the artwork, then you've seen the artwork. It's just in the ISO Linux and the grub location, so you can edit this, and of course we've got all the files, so the dependencies for Oracula don't actually need to be here anymore. It doesn't matter if I delete that or not, because I've already got a backup on the USB. But there's a lot of files, and the only files that we need are these files here. So if we delete these two, when you install Calamares, you're going to want to put this file in the location it is on Debian. So different distributions have different Calamares setup. We don't need this file here, so we can delete that. You might get the Debian artwork, but that's fine. It's not going to install if you use the Debian Calamares. So you're going to need to use these two different files. I'm just going to keep them there. They're in the layout where their files would be. So you can just copy these files. I'm going to make it a little bit easier for people. So you actually want to add this to here. You're going to want to add this to here and this to here. And of course you're going to want to remove the users. Now a lot of people can say, oh no, but he's probably just messing it up now. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to offer a demo and paid version and give people a broken project now. So what you need is you need to edit this here so that the users is turned off. And I'm pretty sure this is all it is. So them three things need to be turned off to work, and that is it. You copy these files into their respectable location, and that's it. The Calamares will install. I've done many tests over many hours. And what else can I show? Well, we're going to test this new Arch kernel, and we're going to do it together. So Arch Linux. And we're going to see if this is fixed. And there's one way to see, and it might take maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's got a new kernel type, thank you very much. I don't know why we've gone back on ourselves. Haha! Make init hook migration and early microcode. What? With the release, Maker several hooks previously provided by Arch packages have been moved to the Make Init upstream project. These hooks are there. To ensure no breakage of users' setup occurs, temporary conflicts have been introduced into the respectable packages to prevent installing packages that are no longer compatible. Please, so I don't have to provide kernels. But there's only one way to test this, people, is to download an Arch ISO and install it in a virtual machine and just watch how Arch Linux installs during the Arch install script. So we're going to download this. I don't know if we don't need to update the packages, Arch install package. Is that my good friend Sebastian's messaged? not being nice today. DeepSeek might be juicing it. Arch Linux servers might be a bit slow. If this works, then I'll show the process of creating an ISO with my new tool. And what I'll do is I'll install Western and Calamares and configure it to be set up. We'll make a clone on camera, I guess. I've not really done a long video in such a long time. I've not really shown the process of creating an ISO, and I'd like to be doing that on video today. So let people know, that it works. And there's a way. So what I'll be doing is, if this kernel of if the script works perfectly fine, is then I'll just obviously make a minimal ISO for people to download. But at the moment, I'm going to be obviously editing scripts. And oh no, to be honest, I won't be uploading it because of the demo version. Demo version meaning that you only be able to use the tool 3 times before it locks up and says, right, you've got to pay on Patreon for the full version. You can get the demo version on the Plin store, and you get the full version on Patreon if you pay a monthly subscription. And well, I've got to work out ways to keep it to a monthly subscription. I've tried to do it as based on a date, and it didn't like to work too well. I wanted an API, which is not really my field, and it wasn't working. Oh, shattered. I'm not scripted. I haven't got everything I say written in a book. If I'm going to say what I'm going to say, it is what it is. I'm not a professional. I'm not trying to be a professional. I'm trying to make a living so I can at least buy, a few things in life. I'm not trying to make a massive amount of money. I'd like to have a better PC at least. I would like to have my AMD 4 set up again, at least with a 2600X, which is an expensive CPU. I can go pick it up for £40, but then I haven't got the components to put it in. So we've got Arch Linux. We're going to go here. We're going to go here. I'm going to just show you some of the work that I have been doing in the test. Just look at some of the things that I've been doing. So we've got an Arch Linux clone, which really isn't Arch Linux, but it was named that at the time because obviously I primarily supported Arch. But this is I believe this is 2404 and the other one is 2410. I'll just wait for this to load. So this is 2410. It's going to boot. This is why I don't like to use 2410. It's got bugs. Although it's been released, and Kubuntu are now obviously giving it as an option, but they haven't fixed their system. What is it? Grub, is it? With not getting a process during the Plymouth boot, or the init boot, is it? I think it's the init. The init system doesn't give a process anymore. I wanted to give a message to the Ubuntu team and say, right, you're producing new versions pretty much every few months now. I've noticed it's like every 7 months, something like that. And you're not updating the Snap. I hate Snap as it is, but at the end of the day, it's the same. It's the same. It takes 5 minutes to install Firefox when I could just install it with Arch within the click of a finger. You know, I don't think that, you know, all these different versions are making any sense. You know, well, it's all good having new packages, but your Snap is absolutely jank. It takes 5 minutes to install Snap and Firefox. I mean, which is a 3 GB package as it is. I believe Snap, when you set up Snap, it's about 3 GB straight then and there. Yeah? 2410 was quite fast at loading when I last used it, so I don't actually know what's going on. I've got no time to be wasting. I've got no time anyway. Oh, come on, what is going on? This is going to take like 1 minute 30. This probably isn't going to be out for another few days, whilst I just, you know, prep the last finishing things, whether I make applications for each distribution or whatever. It's probably about a few days, if not another week's worth of work needed done, even though all the processes of creating an ISO work, of course. Well, so the script itself, if I go to make an ISO, isn't working, and that is because there's no path in the ISO script, so it's looking for a file that might not be in the correct place, or the path isn't set up correctly. But if you was to run the ISO script itself to create an ISO, it works. So I need to look at that function and see what's actually going on there. Oh, it don't take 10 years to load a flipping operating system now, does it? So there's just a few minor things that need to be tweaked so they can work, although the functions have been tested. I didn't even log in. Automatic login, the Calamaris is set up differently now, so you've got different functions in the Calamaris. They've got like a custom Calamaris for the Ubuntu 2410. This is Penguin's Eggs is 2410. Yeah, that would make sense. This is 2404 KD Neon. And it's Shining Armour. If we can get it to load. And this is the one that I cloned and then installed. And we'll just I had a few problems with Windows 11 and 10 just the other day. I was setting up Windows 10 and 11 and I've got an S24 Ultra. I was trying to work out why my S24 Ultra wouldn't let me connect to Windows 10 and 11. no, Windows 10 and 11 wouldn't connect to my S24 Ultra's internet. And lo and behold, I've managed to work it out. So my S24 Ultra has security for the internet, which is WP3, and that's what's being used. Until you update Windows 11, because I'm not too sure how it works with Windows 10, it won't work. It won't read the internet and say it's not supported. It won't even say it's supported. It just won't let you connect to the internet. It'll have a big massive X mark. But on Windows 11, what you do is you connect to the internet and run an update, and then it pops up a message and tells you. I didn't see that message. I just changed the setting, the security key to number 2, and then it told me that, after, because obviously I connected, I'd done an update, and then it told me, oh, now you can support WPA3, and I was like, this is a Windows 11 ISO, you're telling me it doesn't support it out of the box. Of course, I didn't do updates during the install, so yeah. But this is an ISO that I created, and there's nothing on here because I deleted it all. I took all the files off of it, put it onto my USB, made a backup on my USB, and then shoved it on the internet. But this is what I made. And it's, what do we do? That's shut off. But yeah, it's going to tell me that it's already connected or something. Right, we'll test the kernel, we'll see what it's saying. If there's any broken pipe errors, then I think we'll just have to give it, call it a day. I'm not too sure if anyone understood what I was on about when I was saying that there is kernel issues. Like, you can install the latest kernel and you probably won't find any issues, but the issues themselves are underlaid in the Arch install script. So you'll find that if you was to make a backup with Penguin's eggs, it will not work. So and that is obviously due to the fact that the file system formats are not supported, corrupt, should I say? So we'll just go to this layout. I normally just go with ext4. I'll probably put a lot of people off saying this, but no, let's go back. When I used BTR, what is this? Doesn't matter, we're going to delete every partition you can see. Confirm exit, go back. No. So when you when I use, is it BTRFS? I don't know because I don't use it that often, and I have used it in the past, like I said. But if I was to select BTRFS, if I was to select that and install my system, it makes no difference in the system size. The system size will be the same from my last test, which is why I don't do it. There's no point doing it. You're just wasting time. Of course, BTRFS has its own. I don't want to be installing no desktops. It has its pros and cons, but for me, it doesn't matter if you've got a compression algorithm or not. The system's still going to be the same size. My systems are around about 10 GB with KDE installed. Of course, we're going to be using a Linux Zen kernel. Right, so we've got Pipewire, Network Manager. We don't need a profile, we need a user account, so we're just going to call the user account. No, what we'll do. We're going to call it Arch. I like to call it Arch. So. Password would be 2024 if anything. Confirm. So we don't want to swap, we don't want a unified kernel image just yet anyway. I will be trying to find the logic of that. Basically, the unified kernel image basically puts your kernel, your initramfs, I'm not too sure what other files, all into one file, and that's what a unified kernel is. So I obviously done a bit of research into that. I'm yet to test my tool with this, but it would need a new mechanism for this to work. Alright, this is going to take a minute, so we're going to install the packages, and when it gets to the last little make init cpio-p command that runs the kernel against your hard drive, this is when we're going to find out whether the kernel is still corrupt. So they do put something on their website, we're going to see. We're going to see together. What else have they broken, you know? You got to do your test and make sure that things work. And I've been doing this night and day for the last 4 weeks and bug reporting to Arch, so this is probably why this has been fixed. And it's took them now 4 kernels to fix this problem. And they got a bit funny with me on the internet through emails. They actually, oh, you need an account to make bug reports. I said, well, that wasn't on the website, and maybe you should fix that as well. Because they've blocked people from making accounts. Made at home projects, yes, made at home projects. Rock solid and forked. Some of the best projects are made some of the best things are made in-house, you know? For all I know, this could be made at home. Anyway, we're running commands. Yeah, we're starting the build. We're not done yet. We don't know if it's fixed or not. It means nothing. We've got to wait for the next set of commands to go through. It should change colour to yellow, I think. I'm not too sure, I can't remember. This is when we find out if the kernel has been fixed. Hey, no it hasn't. Here we go. Error 70, write error, cannot write block, broken pipe. Boom. Kernel corrupt. Here's another one. Error 70, write error, cannot write block, broken pipe. This kernel is corrupt. Sorry people, but there's the underlying issue. There's no point even trying to make an arsehole of it, because it isn't going to work. And that is it for today, people. That's all I've got to show. That is how you know the kernel is corrupt. If you want to work in kernel, then you're going to want to download these from the Internet Archive. Where are we? We go to here. Is it archarchive.org. So I actually provide the kernel files that I don't know if this one works, although the 52 should be the one that works there. This one here is actually an old version, so you don't want that. These versions of the kernel work. Not this one. These versions here. These will all work. Any versions before or after will not work. They have to be these versions of the kernel, simply because KPM Core will not work with newer versions, and of course the newer versions are corrupted. No, with older versions, should I say. So versions before this version, KPM Core will not install, and Calamares will not install because of KPM not being supported by the kernel, and of course because of the new KPM Core algorithms, and of course newer versions are corrupt, as you just see, broken pipe errors, but you can download these from the Arch repo. So archive if I can spell it. Arch. You can download these files from this repo here. We just go to packages and go to Linux. Whatever kernel version you want, so Linux LTS, Linux Zen, and Linux Hardened. They're all here, all provided. This is where I got the files from, so you can actually download the version that I've got just over here. I think you put it in the wrong place. Look at the date, it's the September edition, so we're going to look at it. The dates is 2024 September the 11th, I believe, because I obviously downloaded the file and they put the file in the wrong place. I'm not too sure if they deleted it. But the latest kernel is actually somewhere above. So September times, so we've got there. So here, 12th of September 2024, this is the kernel you're going to want. You're going to want to download this and just install it using the sudo pacman u command, and that will install the kernels, and then you can make an ISO with Penguin's eggs or with my tool when it is released. But that is it for today, people. I'm going to stop the video here. Hope you've enjoyed watching some of the new features I've added. I'm sorry I've not released it yet, and of course the mechanisms in the versions that I have released are old and predated and they're not correct. So if you do want to make an ISO with my tool that is released, then it's broken because the SquashFS mechanism was old. Now, of course, I just want to show this. I'll do this in every video. I don't know what it is, but I just want to show this. I'm not going to be able to make I'm not going to be able to make anything. So we need to delete some files. We've got like 60 gigabytes sitting around. Delete that. I don't want that anymore. We've got about 20 gigabytes sitting around. So if we go here, I just want to show that the Arch SquashFS mechanism has actually been changed just a little bit. It's made it even better than what it was. So we've made it blue now, and we've got these options. There's obviously 103, but the mechanism 102 is actually the update, pretty much. This just helps. It's been set up correctly to clone the system the way it needs to be, so that Mustang works, and obviously normal Arch. Because Mustang's Artix, I obviously make my own distribution called Mustang. If we go onto here, we go to my website and we go to distributions, and we can either click here and we've got all these different things here, or if we go here we've got photos, and then this is my Mustang, which is Artix. It's Artix KDE Gamers Edition, and that's what's on my machine beside me over here. I've got it installed on here as well, although I've just been doing my test normally on Arch at the moment. Everything does work on Mustang, and I've got a new update coming out very, very soon, and that's it really. I just thought I'd show that. Hope you've enjoyed the video and the things that I've shown in this video, and so bye from me, Aaron.